This is Justin AMZN on Monday, April 13th, 2020. Taking a look at the daily. Let me first just say sorry for the last two videos. The volume was really low. I figured out what the issue was. It was the microphone setting was actually low from a meeting I connected to sometime last week and somehow didn't catch it. So thank you for all those who pointed out and tracked it down. So hopefully I sound like I'm all here, and hopefully it didn't just blast out your ears when you fired up the video. So anyway, jumping into the chart here, I spent some time talking about what I anticipated uh, to happen this week, looking a lot like what we did back here, and that we would just pretty much kind of creep up slowly, stay below the all-time high, previous all-time high, and have just some smaller candles and eventually roll over. That obviously did not happen today. Um, so we are not repeating this. We're not going to look something just like this. I mean, we could very well have a bigger pullback. That is entirely possible. But we're pretty much going to make an all-time high, a new all-time high tomorrow. Um, yeah, it was a very bullish day right out the gate. It's even hard to kind of get all of it on the chart to show you when we jump into the 5 minute. But I just kind of wanted to point to some other areas that, reconsidering what I had thought of this being a really large consolidation, similar to this, kind of a fractal sort of perspective. Actually, that's not quite it. It was more like this, and then I was thinking of this being like a breakout and then a retest of the lows and then a rally from there. And I now I'm seeing that, I mean, it could be doing something like that here where we broke out, came back all the way down. We really did retest the lows or below the lows of this. And so what if we're doing this right now where we're massively up after, this kind of a move? Um, we could have a little bit of consolidation like this and then continue higher. Um, we could have a bigger pullback. I'm not exactly sure. But if we do something where we move up, I just turned off the sketch. Hang on. If we go up a little bit more, we know some newer traders, some news will be getting in something like this at an all-time high, thinking they're missing it. At that point, it should come back down some. Um, we should get a retest back down to like this kind of X marks the spot here. Um, Retesting, this uptrend angle. We could do it over a couple days, do some sort of flag. I really think we're gonna go up a little higher first, and then we could do a flag here. I don't even know if it'll take a couple days, but picture something like this, some choppiness up here at a new all-time high or right around the same high here, and to essentially look at something like this also. Trying to draw a circle on this, something like that, some consolidation. And once some of the new bulls get chewed out and some bears think they're going to roll it over, then we should continue on up. At least, that's a possibility. If we do this and then we break down, we got a long ways to go, but we've got lots of points along the way that we can pivot. So today's candle definitely changed everything, and it was incredibly bullish. We've I did say we'd have a bullish candle today. I did not expect it to look like this. This is hugely bullish. It's even stronger than this one, which was making new highs here. Today's candle closed this gap. It almost made a new all-time high on its own today. So jumping in the 5 minute, we're really right there. I think if I jump over to the hourly, you can see it. Let's make sure we got the right high price. Yeah, so 21.85.95. Right now, after hours, we're at 21. Well, not right now, but after hours, the high was 21.84.98. So we're within $1, within 1 point of that all-time high. pre-market should get us there. Should be easy, right? But I mean, just look at this. Look at how bullish this has been. I just drew this kind of channel in here thinking we should do something with this, and we just broke right on through it today. So, okay, jumping back into the 5 minute. I just kind of want to walk through this because it's really just difficult to get a handle of what happened. We were in this channel, this uptrend channel here. We opened up below our pivot 20, 50, 50, you know, we're within this channel, and we open up right here, push right on through immediately. This is the first 5 minute candle. It's pretty big. It's bigger than the candles we have, the opening candles we had the last couple of days. And then the next candle breaks out of this channel. If I extend this to the right, you can see we just blew right on through that. We pull back right into this channel, go sideways right on that, and then continue on up. We don't even retest again. I mean, we don't come back to this level, but this is where we pivot. This was really the only S curve, or the early S curve, that it made on a 5 minute. And it just moved so quick. I was not prepared for this kind of a move so quickly. And I hadn't my eye in it. I just did not expect to see this happen. And so I thought we get a little more retest. I thought it would come back down to 20, 50, 50. So yeah, it shocked me. I was anticipating things for it to do today. So anyway, continue to run up. I got 3 bearish candles in a row. That was pretty much all that the bears can muster today. We had 3 bearish candles here, 3 bearish candles up here. This was the most resting that we did. And what's really crazy is right around noon, Thinkorswim took a dive, and the whole platform shut down. So, I mean, you look at other brokers, look at other charting software, nothing was working in Thinkorswim. And it was really unfortunate because this was a great place to be looking to get in. I was not confident with trading anything once it came back. It came back right around like 12:30 or 12:40, probably right in here. Once the platform opened up and people saw it was so sideways, they got in, continued to push it up. So yeah, 3 candles in a row, 3 bearish candles in a row is the most we got at any point today. These 3 went sideways. These 3 pulled back a little bit, had a nice little hammer here. And then these 3 were pulling back from a really high. But I hope you can see these S curves. So, we talk about places to get in, places to look for some resting. And like I said, it's just hard to get all this on the chart. You had some resting in here. Just trying to draw that. That's a stair step. Here's a stair step. This was an actual S curve. The other ones, it's so quick, it's barely an S. This is technically an S. This was just sideways. It barely curved at all, curved down. But all of these were opportunities to get into calls. Anytime it rested, you just had to pick the right strike, and the right strike just seemed to be further and further out of the money as it ran up. Like I said, it's just really hard to get this all on the screen. So here's the 2150 call expiring Friday. It started out the day around $2, $3, $4, and very quickly made it up to 5. The smallest candle it had after the open that you really could have traded was this one. It was still $1.20 range on this candle, and you would have really been just getting in around 5, and you couldn't have had a stop at 4. It was just too far down. So once we had this big bullish candle here, it was really hard to trade this with $100 risk without getting even further out of the money. So again, this is the 2150. It would have been really difficult to get into this with $100 risk. You probably would have needed to go out to 2200, which it's like that's beyond the all-time high price. So at 2200, these ranges were a little bit smaller, a little more rest through here. It went totally sideways right around the $2.50, $2 price, and that would have been a nice place to get in. Now, sorry. to get into this and then just leave it alone would have been difficult too. You can see the S curves were more substantial here. And, you know, I don't know how any of you folks traded this, but, you know, just looking back to see, okay, here's a stair step. Here's an S curve. Here's a stair step. This was a really nice one, retesting this high. So that would have been getting in around 8, like 8 by 7. You know, it's an S curve into another S curve that's more of like a stair step here. And then that would have, you know, you would have been holding on to this as it continues to run up. But where, you know, where do you set your target in this? You know, that next pivot I think was around here. So probably like 14, 15, somewhere in there. You know, so you're into this a little bit. The option almost doubles, you know, from like 8 to 14 or 15. Well, 8 to 16, I would say is doubling. But then I'm putting a really nice base. If I could draw it straight, putting a really nice base up here around 12. And 12, I mean, doing 12 by 11, sure, maybe. It's just that's a pretty big range. Or I'm sorry, it's a pretty small stop compared to where the option is already gone today. And so this is one where once it's up here, probably, you know, look to go out to a further out strike. But again, it's kind of crazy to be thinking, okay, like 22.50. This was at around $6. There was just so much bullishness getting priced in. Even the puts were getting premium added into them, or at least not getting it pulled out or sucked out of it. So here, you know, this would have been a little better, doing like 6 by 5. You're still so far out of the money. And it still had an incredible move. This one more than doubled all the way up to the high. But that base was being put in right here, came right into the 21, didn't have a squeeze, got a little bit of bearish histogram here. But it didn't really amount to anything. But this was really the only place that bears were trying to make a stand, trying to hold it. And this level was, so this is when I had to draw back in. This was that after earnings spike. That was this price. We ran into that basically on the close on this day. We held above it, made a double top up here. And so this, I thought this was a really strong level to come into. When I was just doing the video, I think for Thursday, I didn't have this one drawn on the daily. I had it drawn on the 5-minute, but it didn't carry over to the daily. So I got this one put in here. Why is this not? There we go. Okay. So I had this price in here after talking about where I thought this could get up to. That's why I was focused on this channel. But then it's like, okay, here's another resistance right here. It blew through that too. This was stronger than this earnings move, basically, is what this looks like. Even though we're coming from down here all the way up to there for earnings, where we made it today and closed is significantly stronger than even all this. So it just changes everything for where I see this going. It looks like it's going to go straight up. Don't be buying straight into it, you know, and push it straight up in here. It could run for another 100 points or something tomorrow. It's entirely possible. Today's range was 142. It could have another 142 day tomorrow. Entirely possible. Try not to be that person getting in, buying in at an all-time high candle. Wait for that S curve. Wait for that pullback. And I think we'll still get it. You just got to wait for it. Got to be patient for it. If we get some really nice consolidation, if we get something that's something like this, where we go sideways for a little bit and then it starts to show some continuation higher, great. You know, that's a really nice rest. That's an S curve. You know, I can play on something like that. But I also don't want to be getting in at the breakout. You know, like the people who are buying above this price, they had a better place to buy a little bit lower. Yes, just a little bit lower, sure. But, you know, same with the people who are buying above this level. It came back down below it. You could have been buying right below it. You know, the 21 was really the price to be buying off of today at the open, middle of the day, and then it looks like right at the end of the day as well. So, you know, Amazon kind of shifts from kind of what's really working. You know, it basically comes down to, you know, the 21 exponential moving average works, just not all the time. The 5 exponential average works, just not all the time. The pivots work, just not all the time. You know, it's kind of shifting from what's, you know, kind of governing the movement right this moment. We got to figure it out. Over here, these days, you know, it was following this kind of a channel. You could have put the lows in pretty easily after this, and then bought off of that here and here. That would have worked. Putting in the high, that's just drawing a line to the top of that channel, or drawing a parallel line from the bottom of the channel at the top here, calling that a top and seeing, hey, look, that held over here, shorting it off of over here. So this little channel worked, you know, for a couple days here. Well, it's not working now. We're outside of that. If we get a bigger pullback into 2100, great. That's a place to look for. Is that going to be support? I'm going to look first for the 2133.74 price to do something to hold, you know, as new support. So it was support today. So it should be support again, you know, when we pull back into that. Take a look at the different options. Take a look at 2250. Look at, I don't think we had 2225. Nope, not 2225. So we're back to every 10. Oops. So look at the 2220. Look at 2210. Like, just look at how these moved. And I mean, 2210, you know, it came right into the 10 by 9 price that I love to see. It rested through here. Now, this is when in here you maybe, oops, you could have been trading this around 1130 central. There was much lighter volume in here. It looks like some people were still being, you know, still able to trade, or they had orders set up that were triggered in at a certain time of the day. So, but this worked nicely. 10 by 9 all through here, held that. You could have been trading this or could have been in this while the platform wasn't working so well. Came right up into a high right here. Great place to exit all of it or exit a partial. Look to reload on a pullback. And that's really what I think we need to focus on, is looking for these pullbacks, looking for places that it's going to pivot back down. You know, riding up the directional move, getting out at a level, and then looking to reload at, you know, a pullback. So, you know, there was all kinds of strikes you could have been playing. The 2100 very quickly got expensive. It opened up, you know, if you look at where it kind of closed right around 9 or 10 in here on Thursday, had a massive hammer and then was just gone, just ran, you know. You needed a bigger R to trade this, but look at where it made it on the day. Like, from the low to the high, it 10x'd. Not 10R'd, it 10x'd. So if somehow you were looking to be getting into this option, you know, like I said, I was expecting a bullish day. It was way more bullish than I expected it to be. But if I had just been setting up something blindly, thinking, okay, I want it to be bullish, we should hold, you know, we should hold in the range of this day. You know, that means I'm gonna buy this low. I'm gonna buy at 7. Well, it didn't make it down to 7, it didn't work. But had you had that same thinking and bought at this low at 8, or even at 850 or 9, and said, okay, we should have a bullish day. If I can get in at 9, I'll risk, you know, instead of 100, if your R is more, if your R is 300, get in at 9. You know, you didn't hold over the holiday weekend, you know, get in at 9, and your stop's down at 6, so you're below Thursday's candle. That totally worked. You could have been in at 9, stop at 7. I'm sorry, stop at 6 for $300 R, and just let it ride all day long, and exited at, you know, near the high, or still holding on to it, because you could just set your stop anywhere in here and still be up massive. You know, there's some days that kind of setup works. I didn't do that. That would have been a great one. You could do that same sort of thing tomorrow. If we get some sort of pullback, this one's still expensive. I'd be careful about going further out of the money where we've never been before. But here, if we, so 2300, this I don't expect this going in the money this week. I don't expect $142 move tomorrow. If we get it, that's amazing. But if we pop up to a new high, new all-time high, and then pull back, let's see if we pull back into like a $3 price. $3 price, $2 price, those are nice round numbers with a 2300 strike. I'm not saying do this, like, evaluate it for yourself, see if this is a worthwhile plan to have. But if you buy at 3, so have your order set up a limit buy of 3, and or you could do it as a stop limit in case we gap way down and it opens below 3. Stop limit, so it has to push up above 3 and then come back down below it in order for you to get filled. That way, you're not just having a limit sit out there, and if we gap down and it opens at 2, you're getting in it at 2, which is a better fill. But if your stop is already set at 2, then you're in and out instantly, and with slippage, you probably are going to actually lose something instantly. But anyway, if we do something where you're buying at 3 and stop down at 2, and it just happens to pull back into that price and then bounces and runs back up to like 10, hey, there you go, that worked. That's somewhat of a blind buy. But the options price, I mean, if we come back down to 2133, I don't expect us to tomorrow. We could totally do that. But if we come back down to this price, we'll probably be below this option price. We'll probably be closer to 2, maybe 150 on a Tuesday, the week of expiration, and you're 170 points out of the money for your strike. We'll probably come down to around 2. So if you expect it to come back to 2133 tomorrow, then set your order to buy at 2, and stop at 1, or really, if you've got a bigger R, just do it as an absolute 0. Get in at 2, stop at 0, or so essentially no stop, and just look to get out as it doubles, going back up to 4, or going up to 6, and then gets a triple. That's just a way to set it up as like a blind trade. Wish I had thought of that when I was doing the last video, thinking through what we could just set up in this range, looking for a bullish move, and just been in something right out the gate. Because I mean, you really needed to trade this very quickly, being on a smaller time frame, like a 3-minute or 1 minute, and it didn't gap up. It was gapping. I mean, it gapped slightly, but it was inside. Actually, did it gap? Yeah, it gapped down slightly. So it was inside of this candle, technically a bearish retest gap, and instead it just ran. So even the 3-minute candle didn't help you. This was very quickly pushing higher. This gave you a little better of a rest right here. Really nice high wave candle at the end, at the top of this channel. So this channel was right on. Like, this was the right place to draw this channel. And I may have adjusted this after I finished the video, because when I drew it, I think I had it drawn over here, and I knew that it would just jump to try and snap to something. So I think I just tried to draw within, Thursday, going back to Tuesday's time frame, so that the channel itself wouldn't move too far. So this may not have been exactly how I drew it last night, but I basically just connected the lows here, 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 and here, and then connected the highs here and here. And I just held on to that first high, and that's the price we came back into. It just happened to work out this time. May not do that next time, but I still like the channels I draw and the pivots that I draw. So hopefully it's helping you set something up. Here's a 1 minute. If you're quick enough to be on the 1 minute, high wave candle immediately breaks out, a little bit of a rest right below 20/50/50, runs up, pulls back. So this is 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, and then 6 minutes it's doing this S curve and continue on up. But do you think, as it's making this stair step in here over the course of 4 minutes, you think you could set up a trade to get in bullish if it continues up? Or you didn't have to do it. You could look for it to come back and pull back to this price as it broke out here, and you're in at 2075 as it pulls back. Oh, it's 2075.2. But anyway, it does another little S curve here, pulling back to basically where it broke out from this level. So you're essentially, yeah, we're on a 1 minute. It takes some practice to do a 1 minute, but if you've got a stair step here, you draw it straighter. There, that was pretty good. So that's your setup. At least to get in there, your stop is probably not there. Your stop is probably here. But it does retest, comes right back into that price, and then continues on up. So could you set that up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in 8 minutes, and then see it get filled on the 9th minute? Sure, that's enough time. You just gotta, I mean, when things are moving this much, you gotta start to look a little bit smaller on the time frame, because waiting for 5 minutes when it's just moving, you're gonna miss something. So we'll work on getting better at looking at those. I try to mostly stick to the 5 minutes. Sometimes I go to the 3. I know I was just on the 1, but we'll see if we can plan some things out a little better there. So, all right, that's enough of my rambling. Hope this helps. This is Just AMZN. Thanks.